Something happened today. You felt it arrive. Maybe around midday. Maybe a little before, maybe a little after. A wave moved through you. Fast, sudden, like a current passing through your chest and out through your hands. You did not call it. You were not even thinking about him in that exact moment. You were doing something completely ordinary, pouring coffee, standing in line somewhere, scrolling without really looking at anything, driving with the radio on low. And then it hit. A wash of feeling so sudden it almost knocked the breath out of you. For a second you might have thought, what was that? Your chest tightened, then opened, almost in the same breath. Your skin prickled, like there changed pressure without warning. Maybe your eyes filled, out of nowhere. Maybe your hands went a little electric, the way skin feels right before a storm breaks. Underneath all of it, one feeling rose first: recognition. This is not anxiety. This is not your mind spinning up another story about him, another scenario, another what if. This is something landing in your body from somewhere outside your own thinking, something that arrived on its own, something that chose this exact moment today to move through you. If you have been feeling steady lately, this might have caught you completely off guard. You have been doing the work, building distance, building peace, building days that do not revolve around checking for him, waiting for him, wondering about him. And then today, with zero warning, this wave. Here is the first thing you need to know before anything else. You are not imagining it, and you are not regressing. If you felt something shift today, suddenly, without warning, like a current or a wave passing straight through your body, leave a like and subscribe to stay connected. Drop "This bond was never broken" in the comments to anchor this frequency, because that is exactly what today is showing you. Something between you and him moved, not because either of you did anything, not because you reached out, or he reached out, or anything changed on the surface at all. Nothing visible happened. Something shifted underneath the surface, and your body felt it before your mind could explain it, label it, or talk you out of it. Maybe this is not even the first time you have felt something like this since this separation started. Maybe there have been other moments, other days, where something seemed to shift and then nothing followed, and you eventually talked yourself into believing it meant nothing at all. If that is part of why you are pausing right now, wondering whether to even trust this feeling, that makes sense. You have learned through experience to be careful with hope, to not read into every sensation, to protect yourself from getting your hopes up over something that might just be a random feeling and nothing more. But today is different from those other days, and the difference is not something you have to take on faith. It is written very specifically into the sky above both of you. Today, at almost the exact moment you felt that wave today was not random, and it was not nothing. It was your body responding to a sky that shifted hard, right on schedule, and a connection that moved with it. Every day that passes without understanding what that wave actually meant is a day spent guessing instead of knowing. A twin flame union personal reading, built from your exact birth chart and read against the sky moving over both of you today, shows you exactly what just opened between you and what your soul contract is asking of you next. You can order yours right now while this energy is still active and finally understand what your body already knows. Link is in the description. Today, the sky did something it only does once a year, and the timing lines up almost exactly with what you felt. Around midday today, the sun and moon lined up exactly together in the sign of Gemini, creating a new moon. Not just any new moon either. This is the closest the moon gets to the earth all year, which means its pull on everything, tides, emotions, energy, is stronger than usual. Astrologers call this a super new moon, and it marks the opening of a completely new cycle. At almost the exact same moment, something else lined up. Venus, the planet connected to love, connection, and what we are drawn toward, sat exactly on top of Uranus. The planet connected to sudden change, awakening, and electric disruption. When Venus and Uranus line up like this, things do not build slowly. They do not creep up on you over days or weeks. They arrive all at once. A spark, a jolt, a switch flipping somewhere inside you with no warning at all. This pairing is famous for exactly the kind of thing you felt today. Sudden pulls towards someone. Unexpected clarity about a connection. Feelings that seem to come out of nowhere and land with a force that catches you completely off guard. For twin flame connections specifically, a day like this works almost like someone pressing reset on the whole dynamic. The new moon in Gemini brings a pull toward a new way of seeing things. A new perspective. A different angle on what has actually been happening between you, one you could not quite access until today. Gemini governs communication, perception, the mind itself. So this is not only an emotional event, it is also an invitation to suddenly see something you were not able to see clearly before. And there is one more layer worth knowing. This new moon is also gently connected to Chiron, the point in the sky linked to old wounds becoming wisdom. So whatever moved through you today is not random energy for its own sake. It is tied to healing, to something old, something you have been carrying, finally becoming ready to be understood in a new way. You do not need to memorize any of this or track any of it yourself. What matters is much simpler than all the names and placements. Today, the sky created a sudden opening, and your body felt it land in real time exactly when it was supposed to. That is not coincidence. That is timing. And timing in a connection like this is never random. Here is what makes today different from an ordinary hard day, or an ordinary memory, or an ordinary moment of missing him. Today, the wave did not just move through you, it moved through the connection itself. Think of the bond between twin flames less like a string connecting two separate people, and more like a single nervous system that happens to be living inside two different bodies. When something shifts inside that shared field, both of you feel it, not always in the same way. Not always at the same intensity, but both of you feel something. So while you were standing there with your chest tightening and your skin prickling, something was also happening on his side at the same time. Whether he was aware of it or not, he probably does not have words for it. He probably does not know what hit him or why or what to call it. But somewhere today in his own life, he likely experienced his own version of this wave. Maybe it showed up as restlessness he could not explain away. Maybe a memory surfaced out of nowhere, sharper and more vivid than usual. Maybe he found himself unusually distracted, unusually unsettled, without being able to point to a single reason for it. He will not call it what it actually is. His mind will reach for any explanation that does not involve you, because that is what his mind has been trained to do throughout the separation. He is tired. He did not sleep well. Work has been stressful. Anything but the truth, which is that his body received the exact same signal yours did at roughly the exact same time. You might notice other small things today too, alongside the wave itself. A song that catches you off guard. A number that keeps appearing somewhere you do not expect it. A memory of him that feels almost too specific to be random. None of these are separate from the wave. They are part of the same activation, different channels carrying the same signal. Your mind likes to file these as coincidences, small and forgettable. But on a day like today, with the sky doing what it is doing, these small signals are not background noise. They are confirmation, arriving in whatever language your particular nervous system speaks most fluently. This is the part that is easy to lose sight of when you are deep inside separation. You start to believe that silence on the outside means quiet on the inside too. That if he is not reaching out, he must not be feeling anything. That distance in your daily life means distance in the connection itself. Today is proof that this is not true. And it is proof in a way that does not rely on hope or wishful thinking or anything you have to convince yourself of. The connection between twin flames does not run on the same rules as ordinary relationships. It does not need contact to stay active. It does not need proximity, conversation, or visibility to stay alive. It runs on something deeper than all of that. Something that lives in the nervous system, in the body, in places that exist underneath conscious thought, underneath decision-making, underneath everything either of you is choosing to do or not do on the surface. And today, That deeper layer just got activated. For both of you, at the same time. Whether either of you wanted it to or not. This does not mean he is about to text you. It does not mean today is the day everything suddenly changes on the outside, and it is important not to spend the rest of today waiting for your phone to light up because of this. What it actually means is something quieter, and honestly, something more important than any single message could ever be. It means the bond is still live, still active, still doing its work underneath everything, completely independent of how things look on the surface, completely independent of how long the silence has lasted, and completely independent of anything either of you has done or failed to do. Here's something worth noticing about a day like today. In a week, you might not remember exactly how this felt. You might not remember the timing, the sensation, the certainty you had in this exact moment that something real just happened between you. And without some kind of record, the next hard day, the next quiet stretch, the next wave of doubt can convince you that nothing has changed, that you are still stuck exactly where you started months ago. This is exactly the gap the Twin Flame Journey Tracker and Progress Workbook was built to close. It is not another article to read or another video to watch and then forget. It is a place to actually write down moments like today, the timing, the sensation, the way your body responded, so that weeks or months from now, you can look back and see the pattern instead of forgetting it ever happened at all. Because the truth is, you have been changing, slowly, in ways that are easy to dismiss day to day. The only way to actually see that change clearly is to track it. Stages, synchronicities, daily check-ins, weekly reflections, monthly reviews, all in one place, so you stop asking yourself if you are actually progressing and start being able to prove it to yourself in black and white. There is a branch of psychology that explains exactly what happened to you today, and it has nothing to do with anything mystical, even though it lines up perfectly with everything mystical you already feel to be true. It is called attachment theory, and at its core, it is about bonds. Specifically, it is about how human beings form deep emotional connections to certain people. Connections that do not simply switch off the moment those people are no longer physically present. According to attachment theory, when we form a deep bond with someone, our nervous system files that person under a very specific category. Not friend, not acquaintance, something closer to home base, safety. A reference point the body keeps checking in with, automatically, even when the conscious mind has moved on to other things, other days, other versions of life. This is why people who have lost someone through breakup, distance, or even death often report sudden waves of connection at unexpected times. Out of nowhere, in the middle of an ordinary day, the bond does not require the other person to be present in order to activate. It lives inside the nervous system as a kind of internal map, and that map gets activated by certain conditions, even from far away, even after a long time, even when nothing on the outside has changed. For twin flame connections, this internal map tends to be unusually strong. Stronger than most ordinary attachments, because the bond formed at a depth most relationships never reach in the first place. So when conditions shift, astrologically, energetically, emotionally, the activation tends to be more intense, more sudden, and harder to ignore than it would be for an average connection. What you felt today was your attachment system firing. Your body recognized something, the same way your body recognizes the smell of a place you used to live, or the sound of a voice you have not heard in years. Recognition like this does not need logic. It does not need updates on the current situation. It does not check in with your mind first to ask permission. It simply fires, instantly, completely, the moment the right conditions appear. Here is the part that matters most for exactly where you are right now. In the middle of separation. Doing the work. Building your own life, your own steadiness, your own sense of self that does not depend on him. A wave like today does not mean you are back at square one. It does not mean all the progress you have made just got erased. Attachment activation and emotional regression are two completely different things, even though they can feel similar in the first few seconds. You can feel your body light up with recognition and still be a fundamentally different person than you were when this separation began. Both things can be true at the same time. In fact, this is what earned secure attachment actually looks like in real life. It is not the absence of feeling. It is the presence of feeling, without that feeling taking over and driving your behavior. There is a term for what happens when someone keeps experiencing activation, but keeps responding with steadiness instead of panic, over and over, across enough time. It is called earned secure attachment. Not because the early bond was secure from the start, but because the person learned, through repetition, that activation does not have to mean danger, and connection does not have to mean losing themselves. Every time you feel a wave like today and choose steadiness over spiraling, you are not just getting through a moment. You are literally training your nervous system toward a new baseline. A baseline where this connection can exist inside you fully, without needing anything from him in order for you to feel okay. Before, a wave like this might have sent you straight into your phone. Checking his social media, rereading old messages, spiraling into what does this mean? Should I reach out? Is this a sign? That was the old pattern, the anxious pattern, the one where activation automatically equals action. Today, if you can feel the wave, notice it, name it even, let it move through your body and then keep going with your day without acting on it. That is not numbness, and it is not you not caring anymore. That is regulation. That is the bond staying fully active inside you without hijacking your choices. This, honestly, is one of the clearest signs of growth available to you in real time today, in this exact moment. Not the absence of feeling for him. The presence of feeling, met with steadiness instead of panic, met with curiosity instead of urgency. So what do you actually do with a day like this? First and most important, do not reach for your phone right away. Not because reaching out is forbidden. Not because there is some unspoken rule that says any contact ruins everything. But because a wave like this is information, not an instruction. It is telling you that something is active. It is not telling you what to do about it. And it is definitely not telling you to do something right now. Give yourself some time before you act on anything at all. An hour, an evening, a full day if you can manage it. Let the wave move all the way through your body without immediately translating it into a decision, a message, or a plan. Second, write it down, even just a few lines. What time it happened, what it felt like in your body, what you were doing right before it hit. Not because you need to analyze it to death, turning it into another puzzle to solve, but because moments like this are data. They are part of a pattern you are building, whether you realize it in the moment or not. Months from now, you might look back and notice that waves like this tend to show up right before certain shifts happen on either side of this connection. Third, resist the urge to make this wave mean something specific about his actions, his intentions, or his timeline. It does not mean he is about to reach out today. It does not mean he is finally ready for something. It does not mean anything definite about timing on his side at all. No matter how much your mind wants to turn it into a prediction, what it means is something much simpler and much more solid than any prediction could ever be. The bond is active. That is all. And an active bond on its own, without anything else attached to it, is already meaningful. Fourth, and this might be the hardest one to hear, let yourself feel good about this, if that is what comes up for you. It is allowed to feel good, knowing the connection is still alive underneath everything, even while you keep moving forward with your own life. Feeling relief, or comfort, or even quiet joy at proof that this bond is real, does not mean you are not also healing. It does not mean you secretly want to go backward. It simply means you are responding to something true. Here is what today is really showing you, underneath all of it. You have spent however long you have been in this separation, wondering, somewhere in the back of your mind, if any of this was real, wondering if you were imagining the depth of it, exaggerating the connection, building an entire story out of something that was only ever in your head. Today, your own body answered that question for you, without your permission. without your effort, without anything you consciously did to cause it. The wave arrived on its own, which means the connection is real on its own too. Not because you're holding on tightly enough, not because you are manifesting hard enough or thinking about him enough or doing anything at all to force it, because it simply is. It exists, independent of your effort, the same way it existed before separation ever began. You do not have to chase this. You do not have to force whatever comes next. The same bond that sent this wave through you today is doing its own quiet work on his side too, in its own time, in ways that neither of you fully controls and neither of you needs to control. Your job right now is not to make anything happen. Your job is simply to keep becoming the version of yourself that can receive whatever comes next without losing yourself in the waiting and without needing it to arrive on any particular schedule. The wave already told you everything you needed to know today. This was never gone. It was only quiet for a while. And quiet is never the same as over.